What's up, everybody? It's Basara here. We got two big differences today. First of all, I'm actually recording this video during the daytime, where you get to see that on my face cam. And the second thing is, I don't know if you noticed, the face cam looks a little different. We got a new recording software, because the first one I had was garbage, apparently. So here we go. Brand new Basara, brand new content. Today we're making something I haven't seen before, which is a Aether Raid's defense structures tier list. Yeah, keep in mind that this is for defense, so I didn't put like D in parentheses next to all the structures because it's kind of implied. Yeah, I think so. The main reason why I'm making this is because I want to put players in the right direction of which structures I think are worth placing and upgrading. Upgrading, especially being the biggest thing, because you're very limited on the resources you have to upgrade your offense and defense structures. So I think knowing which ones you should prioritize is very, very important. So if you want to see offense structure tier list, I'm probably going to make it regardless, but still, give me those likes, give me those comments, give me that algorithm, baby, and let's get right started with it. So S tier, we're starting off with the Aether Fountain, the Aether Amphorae. So these are very self-explanatory. You get more Aether every day, and you start off with more Aether at the start of each season, which is why it's very important to have both of these maxed upgraded. The more Aether you have, the more games of Aether raids you can play, the more lift you can get, and the better you can compete. They're not that expensive to upgrade both of them, and they're extremely important for competing in this game mode, so make sure you have both of those max upgraded first before anything. Next is Fortress. Fortress you're pretty much always going to have. It's the only unbreakable structure, and if you don't have a high level Fortress, what will happen is that if your enemy uh, doing their offense has a high level offense Fortress, then they will get big stat bonuses against you. But if you have a higher level fortress than them, then your defense team will have big stat bonuses against them. So you want to have a high level fortress so that you get those big stats. Even if you have like one fortress level over your opponent, that's already +4 to all stats, which is a huge bonus. So I highly recommend going for that. And you can pretty much use it, since it's unbreakable, to make sure that your more frail units on your defense don't get sniped. Like, you can put the fortress like 1 or 2 spaces by them so that they don't get hit by a 2-range unit or something. It's overall a very useful structure to upgrade, and you're pretty much always going to have it placed. So that's what I would recommend using a lot of your stones and do on. So the next one is Duo's Hindrance. Now, I think a lot of people sleep on how important it is to upgrade Duo's Hindrance because they see level 1 gives it turns 1 through 3 and they think that that's enough. But in my opinion, it's not enough. Many people are willing to wait out the 3 turns to use their duo skills if the duo skills are very strong and will easily sweep your team. So I think upgrading Duo's Hindrance to much higher levels, like turn 5, maybe even like turn 6, will be really helpful to you. If you even want to max upgrade all the way to turn 7, I think it's a very good investment. I think Duo's Hindrance is one of the best defensive structures right now, and I think it's going to stay that way probably forever, just because we're going to get more and more duo and harmonic skills, and they're just going to get even stronger. So if you just shut those down completely, it's going to be extremely important now and even more in the future. So I highly recommend tucking a high-level Duo's Hindrance in the back. It's also good against catapults if you upgrade it, because if their catapult isn't that high a level, if you have a level 1 Duo's Hindrance, they can still break it. But if you have a high level Duo's Hindrance, they won't be able to break it if they get lucky on the catapult placement. So in general, it's just very useful to have a high level Duo's Hindrance, and I think it's always going to be a worthy investment. So next we have the A tier. So these are the ones that are very beneficial to upgrade most of the time, but there are like a couple of scenarios where it's not going to be that useful, and it's very rarely going to work out of your favor, which is why I say that like it's pretty much going to be a good investment if you want to go for these, but it's not nearly as good as the S tier ones, because the S tier ones are always going to be useful no matter what. So the first one is Healing Tower. Healing Tower isn't good if you're trying to do some kind of setup where you put like a high-level bolt tower near your defense team so they all take a ton of damage, so you can do like Wings of Mercy teleporting strats or some other nonsense with low HP units, which some people do as some form of trap. So if you're trying to do something like that, then Healing Tower isn't going to help you, but it is going to help you most of the time because you want to have your defense units healthy so that they don't just get one-rounded. And it's especially good if you're trying to do a save ball ARD team where you just pluck a bunch of save units in the corner and then just make rally so that they don't move. And then you just let people try to enemy phase the armors and they just can't do it because the armors are too strong. It's a somewhat popular defense, so if you're trying to do that, Healing Tower is really going to help you out. And then Tactics Room and Heavy Trap both serve the same purpose of inflicting gravity. Generally, gravity is always going to be good to inflict on your opponent. The only way it'll really hurt you is if they have some kind of weapon where they get stronger or some kind of penalty is active on them, because gravity counts as a penalty. But other than that, it's just good. It makes it harder for units to run away if they have gravity. It's harder for them to approach if they have gravity. In general, it just makes their life a lot harder. And since there's a 7-turn limit in Aether raids, if you're slowing down enemy team units, then they are really going to struggle to beat you in 7 turns if they just keep getting gravitied. And a lot of people are going to try to waste time breaking Tactics Room quick so that they're not slowed down anymore. So generally, gravity is going to work in your favor. So next is B tier, and this is where I'd say most of the structures lie. It's where they're good upgrades, they're good choices, but it's not always going to help you. And there's going to be sometimes where it can even work to your disadvantage. So it's a more like high risk, high reward kind of investment. So that's why it's more like towards the middle. So the first one is, I'm going to put in the same category these three right here. These three right here, Bright Shrine, Dark Shrine, and Panic Manor. And the reason why is because these three pretty much all do the same function of inflicting some kind of stat penalty, because if Panic is active on a unit and they have buffs, then those turn into penalties. So the issue with this is, say if somebody is running like Dagger and Light Season, then she's just going to soak that Bright Shrine, like she's absolutely just going to tank it, and then her weapon gives her the unity effect. So it's actually going to blow up in your face that you're debuffed her attack and speed, because she's just going to get even stronger. And that's generally a problem. Even if they don't have Dagger, people still use Attack Defense, Attack Res Unity. They're pretty popular skills. We have skills like Slick Fighter now that are canceling penalties. We have weapons that are canceling penalties or making people stronger if they have penalties active. So in general, penalties are not super consistent because a lot of people expect to see Dark Shrine, Bright Shrine, Panic Manor. People see Gunthras and ARD comps. So people are just prepared for debuffs and make skills so that they aren't affected by them. So it's good if the enemy's not prepared for debuffs, but in high-level Aether raids, they are going to be prepared for these, and it can absolutely blow up in your face. So you just have to be mindful when you invest into these three, that it's going to be a worthy investment and that it doesn't end up being used against you. So next is Catapult. Catapult is very high risk, high reward, because you either get lucky on the placement for the Catapult and get out a really strong offensive structure that you really want to get rid of on the enemy team, or you put the Catapult in a place where it ends up doing nothing or breaking like a structure that wasn't really going to do anything. So it's a huge risk. If you just have to get very lucky on your Catapult placement if you're going to invest into it. That's really all I can say about it. If you're not really running like a turn 1 team, for example, then safety fences aren't really going to do anything. So if Catapult breaks safety fence, then it's not really going to help you at all. But if somebody has like a level 5 bolt tower that they have like right by your team, and you manage to catapult it, then that's really going to help you out. So you pretty much have to just pray that the catapult will actually do something where you place it. So that's pretty much all I can say about that. And then these two, Bolt Tower and Bolt Trap, kind of fall under the same category because, name aside, they both deal damage to the enemy. And that can be used against you. A lot of high-level Aether Raids players will just intentionally trigger a Bolt Trap. They'll just trigger the Bull Trap, and then they take a bunch of damage, and then they can use Wings of Mercy teleport strats to just come in and wreck your entire team. And they can do the same thing with Bolt Tower if it'll be easier for their setup. And Bolt Tower only works on turn 3, so if people want to just get out of the way of the Bolt Tower by then they should be able to pretty easily. So in general, these two are a little bit risky to use, but if you do manage to deal a lot of damage to the enemy team and it doesn't help them out and puts them at a disadvantage, then it is going to be a worthy investment. So it's really all about the kind of offense game plan that the other team is going for. And also something you have to keep in mind with Heavy Trap and Bull Trap is also that Disarm Trap works against them. So if somebody has Disarm Trap, then they're basically waste of investment because people will just get rid of it. Not every team has Disarm Trap, especially because people want to take the Bull Trap damage or whatever for Wings of Mercy strats, but it is something to keep in mind as well. And then C tier. These are very niche, and I would only use them as bonus structures at level 1, and that's pretty much these 4 right here, the 4 schools. Reason why is because you never know what somebody's going to run on their offense team. If they have no infantry units, then the infantry school doesn't do anything, and so on. So you pretty much just have to lucky guess which kind of movement type they're going to have a lot of, and in general, that's not going to work very well. I think Armor School is decently consistent because save balls are becoming really common for ARO, just tanking your entire team with a near save and a far save unit, so you can just debuff those two using your Armor School if you want to, which can really help out. So I think that one's fine. Infantry School is not bad either because a lot of people use infantry units because there's just so many of them. Cavalry is decent. I'd say Flyer is probably the most situational, but I wanted to put them all in the same tier, even if I think some are a little better than others, just because they all have the same weakness of if they're not running any of these types of units, then it doesn't do anything. And that's pretty much all I had to say. I think I'm going to have a lot more to say about the offensive structures, just because I think defensive structures are pretty self-explanatory for the most part on which ones are very useful to invest into and which ones aren't. I think offense, there's a good amount more to say. So definitely help me out with the algorithm. Let me keep making these videos. Let me make that offense structure tier list and lots of other content. And that's pretty much all I have to say. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Adios.